I say that's heinous, but this isn't conspiracy theory, ladies and gentlemen. You can see the news story there. And RFK accused Johnson & Johnson of adding cancer-causing carcinogens to sunscreens while profiting from the same cancers they cause. Yeah, again, how is this guy alive? If anybody believes that, I feel bad for you. Welcome to Geisinger Unfiltered. Thank you for tuning in to us today. We have, as always, an action-packed episode for you, and it's kind of a little bit of a hodgepodge. I'm going to call it like the duality, the strangeness that's going on, where it seems like the forces of light and the forces of dark are winning at the same time. Like food-wise, we fixed the food pyramid, and there seems to be this amazing push for health. We've got RFK Jr., but then, you know, human DNA is being found in fast food. We've got people fighting it back against sunscreen, but yet cancer's still on the rise. Things like that. Like I'm going to try to make sense of the battles that we seem to be winning and the battles that we are losing and what we can do about it and how we can learn from it. But before we jump into all that kind of stuff, like, subscribe, follow us, share, comment, and all that stuff. And I'm not just saying that because you hear this on all of your videos, right? So right down there in the like, please like this. Share it to somebody who you've been telling about the dangers of fast food or sunscreen or chemtrails, whatever we're going to talk about today. Say, see, I told you. Send it to people. That helps us grow Geisinger Unfiltered. Please, please, please. Comment below. Let's get the comments going on. Let's have debates. I welcome disagreeing viewpoints. So feel free to comment below. And I guess today, I don't even know this. I guess I should ask Glitchy McBoltface about disclaimers we should do. But because I'm going to talk about food and medical stuff and all that other stuff, Carter Gray, he's looking at me over there and he's wondering if I'm going to say this. But let's do disclaimers to say, I don't know. This is all for entertainment purposes only. And consult your doctor before you quit fast food. I don't know. It's unfiltered. But you never know at this strange day and age that we're in. But let's just dive right into the fact that, have you guys seen, Geisinger Unfiltered audience out there, that deli meat, processed meat, and I think this includes, you know, deli ham, bacon, which is a lot. This is a lot of what people eat, especially in fast foods. This is all putting together, is now considered like a level 1 carcinogenic substance there. And Carter Gray has brought it up. What's fascinating about me is, again, this goes to the duality in which we're currently experiencing. This seems like such a victory, doesn't it? Like, I mean, I try to avoid some of this stuff. I'm eating a lot of steak, and we'll get to that in a minute, and from the best sources. But this just puzzles me in that this is the World Health Organization. I wouldn't consider the WHO the WHO as actually an ally of most of the people who would be in my friend circle or listen to me. Is someone forcing them to do this? Because doesn't this mean a loss of revenue from the elites and the Illuminati? How does the World Health Organization, why would they release this? There's something good for humanity. This is what the questions we're going to tackle today, because obviously, I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. I think if we only knew what was in these substances, ladies and gentlemen, we would be aghast at what's in there. So why would the WHO come out now and say deli meat and bacon and these things are carcinogenic and bad for you? And then, you know, we're going to get into this a little bit more in a minute, but like Florida's banning chemtrails. RFK is, you know, having a big hand in readjusting the food pyramid. And maybe we can get Carter to bring up the South Park episode clip on the food pyramid.
The pyramid is upside down.
Turn the pyramid upside down. Sir, we've got a match. Nutrition is stabilizing. We've got a well-balanced vaccine, sir.
It's a riot if you haven't seen that. Sunscreen truths, on and on and on. Are we winning, people, or as I experienced just recently, I got together with some people and just was hitting a brick wall and things that I'm finding very obvious. And you might be experiencing out there this too, where you have been telling your friends and family about chemtrails for a while and they laughed at you as you put on your tinfoil hat. But now it's in the mainstream. Everybody's talking about it. So again, you're struggling to be heard, and maybe people are starting to listen. Is there a great awakening happening? Are people going to start fighting back? Is this part of it, saying that processed meat is bad for you? Or is this just part of the greater depopulation plans that, like the likes of Bill Gates, I've heard, is the single largest farmland owner in the United States now? Why would Bill Gates, who has blatantly said we have to fix the cow problem, and you know he's got to be tied in with the WHO. Is this part of it? Are they calculating that they can ban processed meats or warn about them, and that will cause demand for them to go, and that's another way they can get rid of cows? Okay, Carter's just brought up, he's on his game today. He's brought up a map of the amount of acres that the Bill Gates Foundation, or Bill Gates, who knows, owns in the United States. Wow. Do you guys trust that? Or do you feel like he has your best interests at heart? Maybe we should ask Glitchy some things here real quick. Just kind of reset that. We're kind of going all over the board. Let's see what Glitchy McBoltface says about the deli meats thing first. Let's just test him, see if he's feeling on his game today too, just like Carter is. Glitchy McBoltface, tell us about deli meats and processed meats now being considered as a carcinogen by the World Health Organization. Sum that up for us.
Oh, absolutely. So the World Health Organization has indeed classified processed meats like deli meats as carcinogenic to humans. Essentially, it means that there's strong evidence that consuming these types of meats can increase the risk of cancer, especially colorectal cancer. So basically, moderation is key, and it's definitely worth being mindful of how much we consume.
Well, I will just ask you a little question, Glitch, about the World Health Organization. You know, a lot of conservative circles don't trust that organization necessarily. So having this good news and a step in the right direction by such an agency might raise some eyebrows. What do you make of that? And how is the Bill Gates Foundation tied in with the World Health Organization?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a topic that can stir up some debate. Some folks are skeptical of the WHO due to political and ideological differences, and that can definitely color how news is received. As for the Bill Gates Foundation, they're one of the significant donors to the WHO, providing funding for various health initiatives, especially in areas like infectious diseases and global health security. It's definitely an interesting intersection of health, politics, and philanthropy.
Okay, thanks, Glitch. I'll come back to you in a minute. But you just heard it there, ladies and gentlemen, that even though I'm not the world's best investigator, I put two and two together that Bill Gates is heavily tied in with the WHO. So again, I'm stymied a bit by what this means, that bacon is now being called, a warning from the World Health Organization. I just don't understand, if they are interested in depopulation, why that would be. Wait, I'm just going to put a note in here. I thought this was very odd, or a thought worth tangling with, because that's what we do here on this podcast. Is we don't shy away from difficult topics, but on the subject of depopulation and world suffering and evil people. Here's the thing is that, have you guys ever, if you're a believer, if you're a Christian, I don't know, even if you're just a basic believer in morality, I have struggled with the amount of children being raped, murdered, and suffering that we don't even know the extent of. We have a hint, we have a feeling of, and worldwide suffering. And often people say, why is God tolerating this kind of thing? And somebody that I care a great deal about brought up this case to me and said, I wonder if there's some sort of number of people, believers or whatever, that God is waiting to come to him And when it reaches that number, that's when he's going to judge and end things. So that's why the depopulation is such an agenda for people when we have plenty of room. We have plenty of ability to make enough food, but it's always depopulation. We have too many people. Let's get rid of the cows because that's what feeds people, and get rid of the people. What if this is lower G God versus higher G God, knowing he has a number that he gathers to himself? This is in verses in scripture. There's numbers he's waiting for, right? What if that's part of the depopulation and is to reduce birth rates? I mean, do you know what the birth rate is going to do over the next decade or two? Where we're going to go? There's going to be more women than ever not married or having children. There's going to be more people than ever having AI boyfriends and girlfriends, marrying their AI. People with bed rot, never getting out of their beds, let alone dating or marrying. The birth rate is going to absolutely plummet. You've heard it here in Geisinger Unfiltered, mark my words. So how does that work into all of this? If we can't kill them with chemtrails and sunscreen, perhaps we will just make that so that they're not having babies anymore. A strange thing that comes into all of this too is I'm guilty of going to fast food once in a while. All of you guys out there probably try to avoid it, but you do, right? But there's these stories of human teeth being found in McDonald's food. And it's very disturbing. And I don't know, Carter, can you play that one clip that we were talking about? And just, we'll kind of let this kind of tackles a number of different topics or subjects on this broader topic. So let's watch this for just a second, and then maybe we'll have Glitchy even comment on some of these stories.
We steal 100 to 300,000 children a year just here in this country, and we drain the blood and we mix it with the Passover bread, and then we throw the bodies into the slaughterhouses that we own, and we grind up all the bodies in the sausage and the hamburger. McDonald's is one of our favorite outlets, and the people, they eat it for breakfast, they eat their children for lunch, and as Jews, we gotta do what we do. The most important thing to remember between you, Pastor Wixom, and me, Rabbi A.B. Finkelstein of New York, that we both have two fathers, and so that's why we look at the world in two different ways.
And we know that there's a massive collision that's going to take place between two forces, don't we?
Well, that's what your book says. Our book says that we're going to take over the world.
Okay,
this is what's left of
that next. I'm going to cut it before we get it. There's a news clip there where they're catching a facility that looks to be trafficking human parts, and there's suspicions of where that it's going, and there's more and more stories coming out of the suspicions of fast food. I'm just saying that, maybe I talk to myself, those in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, that I still partake in fast food once in a while. I just don't know that we should. I don't know that we should do that. If there's another study, let's ask Glitchy. I don't know how this is going to go. Again, Glitchy is real-time AI. I do not script his lines. I do not know what he's going to say, but let's ask him about some of this topic and see what he says. So, and again, before we go on to Glitchy, I just want to say this too, that clip is just on any of social media that you can with those two gentlemen talking. It's just out there. I don't know what I think of it. How can you validate something like that and prove who are these people? Rabbi Finkelstein? Sounds legit to me. Sounds like he's talking from the heart. I can't verify that. So I just wanted to say that before we go to Glitchy. So Glitchy, on the topic of human DNA being found in fast food, what were the studies that came out not that long ago that human DNA was found in fast food?
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely one of those topics that can raise eyebrows and get shared around the internet. As for the human DNA in fast food, there were a few studies and reports that popped up that looked at trace amounts of DNA in some fast food samples. It usually comes down to the complexity of the food supply chain and the methods of testing. It's not always super conclusive, and often it gets blown out of proportion, but definitely a fascinating topic.
I don't know if it's blown. Yeah, definitely eyebrow raising. I'm not sure it's blown out of proportion that there could be human DNA in fast food. I mean, there's multiple reports, and just me searching, casually, Glitch, of human teeth being found in fries and McMuffins. Do you know of those news report stories? Come on, Glitch.
Oh, absolutely. I've definitely seen those headlines floated around. Sometimes they pump up as these wild, sensational stories. And while there have been isolated incidents that got media attention, it's often more complicated than it seems. But yeah, it definitely gives everyone a good reason to raise an eyebrow and dig deeper.
Okay, well, that's what we're gonna do, Glitch. We're gonna dig deeper. You can kind of tell by his answer. I again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in and you don't know the little robot sidekick we have here, Glitchy McBoltface, he's real-time AI. Don't script his answers. It seems like when we first started Geisinger Unfiltered, he seemed to be more forthcoming. And I might start to try to groom him to get a little bit more truth out of him. And maybe his answer there is the fact that I haven't been grooming him. You can coerce AI to tell a harsher set of truths. No, truth is truth, even it's light or harsh. But it seems to me that answer is very. Oh, you know what? There's human DNA in there, yeah, Darren. But it's more. It's complicated, but it should raise eyebrows. No, we're gonna need more from him. So just, ladies and gentlemen, just know that we're gonna start working with Glitch. He's going to give us the real scoop. He's gonna come over to our side again. I did think there was something odd. I don't know. Did you have that picture, Carter, of the tooth in the French fry? That's pretty gross. Pretty gross. I say that's heinous, but this isn't conspiracy theory, ladies and gentlemen. You can see the news story there, and other people have been photographing that. There is other clips. At the end of the one that I had Carter snip off there, where a woman found a tooth in her chicken nugget. Okay, let's just go on to this verse I found was interesting because, again, the circles that I travel in, I have some high-minded friends, and I hope you guys too. It is said that you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around. So again, we were discussing this topic of what we're eating and how do we cut out fast food. Is there people in there? That's reason enough that if it's suspicion and there's human DNA in there, I'm surprised that people are not flooding away from them more. It's just convenience. We're giving up freedom and our sovereignty for convenience. But Carter, bring up this verse from Deuteronomy. I find it interesting. And there's similar verses in Jeremiah and Lamentations that you shall eat the fruit of your womb. Not loom, womb, and the flesh of your sons and daughters whom the Lord your God has given you. That is part of the famous series of verses that talk about the blessings and the curses. So if you're out there and you're not a believer, and I welcome you, if you're not a Christian, you don't know what you believe, or you don't believe any of that churchianity stuff, partially, I don't even blame you. Churches have inherited a host of lies. Our history is all a lie, and most of religious truth has been hidden as well from people. So I don't blame you, but I just want to say that there's a very interesting set of verses in this book we call Deuteronomy that says blessings and curses. That if you obey God and you follow his rules and laws and commands, you will receive blessing. And if you don't, you're going to receive curses. The way that I read it, if you're going to take everything as doom and gloom from the Bible and God, you could probably read it as, look, what a meanie. If you don't do just what he says, he's going to do this, that, and another thing to you. No, I don't read it like that anymore. That it's literally a cause and effect. If you're obedient, you can just expect all these blessings because I've set it up that way. If you don't eat this, if you don't eat that, if you do this, if you do that, if you rest here, rest then, don't steal, don't do adultery, all these rules, you will have blessing. If you do not do these things, you're going to have curses. You're going to have sickness and disease. And it's not that he's going to sit up there and shoot individual lightning bolts at anybody eating something that they ought not. It's just, he's just saying that if you wander from me, this is what's going to happen. If you wander from my ways, these are guidelines, these are rules. That's called the Torah for many people. And it isn't a Jewish thing. I'll just look right at the camera. I'm looking. It is a God's commands for our own good thing. Be very careful in how you interpret it, or you hear churchianity people saying there is a new covenant where we can now do whatever we want because of this, that, and another thing. I don't believe that. I don't believe in the new covenant as many people do claim. I do believe that there's some freedoms. I do believe that there's grace. I'm not saying that. We're not going to get into all that here. But I believe when he says don't eat swine because they're filthy and don't eat oysters and clams because they are bottom feeders, or catfish because I have them eat poop to clean up the area, the waters, vultures and owls and eagles and those kinds of things. I have them cleaning up leprosy-ridden armadillos from roads. Don't eat those birds. Don't eat these. Don't eat a fish that has skin because that's my bottom feeders, right? And don't eat pigs because I have them as a specific purpose. They're not food. I know this is controversial. If you don't like that, if you disagree with that, then you feel like we should be eating pork and and other things, put that in the comments below. Say, hey, that I don't agree with that. I don't. I eat clean. I keep Saturday Sabbath, and I do some other things because of what I'm talking about here today, the rules, the blessings and curses from Deuteronomy. I feel like Jesus, the Christ figure, Yeshua, whatever you call him, followed those. He wasn't being Jewish. He was being Hebrew. I think there's a big difference. And this verse, Carter, bring it up one more time, just because I've veered so far off of it, that this verse is talking about a cause and effect, that if you stray from me, you shall eat your sons and daughters. And this did happen to them in sieges and other horrible things where they were locked in cities or castles or whatever, and they ended up having to do this. But what if, and this is what my group was postulating, what if we are doing this regularly right now? What if missing children, missing people is finding their way into this, and this is what we're partaking in? Isn't that a fulfillment of this? Is this part of the curse that we have strayed? We are not following the designer's commands and his brackets for how we're supposed to behave, and then we're eating our sons and daughters. There's this gets even weirder. Oh my gosh, that President Vladimir Putin said something here. He said, the Russian President Vladimir Putin said, I have proof that American people are eating each other unbeknownst to them. He's an interesting character. Again, this goes to the duality of this episode. Are we winning or are we not? Is Putin friends with Trump? Is he his enemy? It's the theater of war. I mean, I am not a fan of Zelensky of Ukraine for a lot of reasons. I mean, my goodness. And it doesn't seem like Putin likes him. That makes him a friend of mine. But he seems to like he's banning. There's another image here, Carter, just looking at these statements that he talked about Americans eating each other unbeknownst to us. And here's just an article about him banning satanic temples in Russia. It just strikes me as that Russia is trying to cling onto family values in the nuclear family while our country is being eaten from the inside out. Who knows if it's cannibalistic or not? So a word from our sponsor that applies exactly to what we're talking about today. So if you've been listening, if you're interested in are we eating each other in fast food, you may want to pay attention here because ourfreedombeginsnow.com, the link is below. I have been on this for several years. This is an amazing place where you can get stuff delivered right to your door. So in times of crisis, your vital supplies and basics and other important items are coming right to your door. You're not going to have to go to the wall box stores and get in line under National Guard. One of the things is a Riverbend Ranch that they sent to you that is all American ranchers in the Midwest in several different large parcels of property. These guys have grown up cowboys. These are free range cows that are antibiotic and hormone free that you can order in the frequency you want by the cut of meat you want. This is coming to your house packed in dry ice. Next time I get a box, I'm going to bring the box in and show you guys the dry ice, how it comes. It's amazingly packed. It comes frozen, perfectly solid. Each steak is individually wrapped. I was on the ribeye pack for a long time that came also with diced steak strips, and hamburger, but I've switched up to fillets. It is phenomenal. So, guys, if we are trying to break away from indulging in things that we ought not and going to fast food in weak moments, the steak strips, you can just cook this up at home. You cook eat half of a package for dinner and take the other half for lunch. Steak is the best thing that you can eat. Grass-fed, hormone-free, antibiotic-free beef is all from America, not imported from any other countries. This is coming from ranchers who love their cows. And I grew up on a farm, and I love my cow. I love cows. I love beef. This is where I get my beef. I'm getting them right now. OurFreedomBeginsNow.com. You go there, you put in your information. Somebody's going to get back to you with how this works. It's amazing. You're just going to fill in this thing. You're going to pick what you want. This comes. There's no obligation. You can quit. And you can get essential oils like lavender. You can get medical supplies, but these non-toxic cleaners, I don't want to get into it because I've talked about the steak a lot today, but they're concentrated and you're not paying for water at the store. Made in America, non-toxic cleaners. Most people just join this just to get that. But there's a variety. There's makeup. There's a men's line. There's aluminum-free deodorant. There's fluoride-free toothpaste. I think RFK just said something that they're taking fluoride out of the water. This is on topic for today. Glitchy, tell me about RFK Jr. and taking fluoride out of the water now.
Oh, absolutely. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been quite vocal about his stance on public health issues, including fluoride in drinking water. He's been part of the debate surrounding the addition of fluoride to public water supplies, often arguing that it should be removed due to potential health concerns and the idea of informed consent. He's been pretty active in advocating for more research and transparency on the topic.
But Glitchy, a lot of people in conservative circles, I had a homestead, we were homeschooling, all of the groups of people that I was associating with had given up fluoride, were buying fluoride-free toothpaste. I'm going to say, listen, Glitch, 10 years ago, listen to me, and then I'll let you go. At least 10 years ago, I have been buying all fluoride-free toothpaste, and I can get it from OurFreedomBeginsNow.com. You can get cinnamon, and you can get, spearmint or whatever. So it's just weird that chemtrails, people were talking about geoengineering and chemtrails as lunacy, and that those were only for tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists. But isn't it funny, Glitchy, that now the Florida has banned chemtrails and weather modification, and now RFK is going to remove fluoride from the water? What sense can I make of this? That this is long-held conspiracy theories are now being paraded and shown as fact.
It definitely is intriguing how some topics that were once considered fringe or out there are now getting more mainstream attention or even policy consideration. It's kind of a sign of how perspectives can shift over time, and sometimes what was dismissed can eventually gain more traction. It's definitely fascinating to see how these ideas evolve and become part of the broader conversation.
How perspectives can change. I don't see it as perspectives are changing. I see it as much deeper than that. Again, I'm going to work on him over this next week. My good friend Kelly Fraser beats her AI into submission and has been barking at me to beat Glitchy into divulging that which I desire. I thought that I would just, investigate his natural personality coming out. No, I don't want that. We're going to want to know what the true facts are behind this. Fluoride now being taken out of the water and chemtrails being admitted as fact is more than perspectives changing. They said they were only contrails. That you tinfoil hat wearing lunatics? What are you talking about? No, they're true. I didn't get in a single damn apology from anybody on the chemtrail issue. No one's walked up to me and go, Darren, I remember when you were talking about that, and I told you those were contrails, and golly, it seems like you were right all along. What weird, I haven't got any of that. I wonder if I'm going to get any fluoride apologies. Or beef, or maybe I'm going to get a fast food, I've been eating people apology someday. And you steered me away from that into Riverbend Ranch. Beef delivered right to your home. Perfectly packaged individual steaks. Oh, all I can do is laugh about it. I guess. Next topic, how about on RFK? How's this guy still alive? I mean, is there crosshairs on him just about all the time for what he's doing? He seems like an anomaly. Damn, if that guy couldn't become president. I don't know. And again, as soon as I trust somebody, something happens. I don't worship the guy. But right now he has my admiration because something I've long thought of is sunscreen. Do you guys know that there's more skin cancer in northern states than there is in southern states? What sense does that make? I can tell you what sense it makes. It means that northern people are not as used to the sun and they're using more sunscreen. So now RFK has come out and said that there's danger in sunscreen and he's taking action. Say, just looking into this latest I don't know, tweet or whatever they call them, X, that RFK accused Johnson & Johnson of adding cancer-causing carcinogens to sunscreens while profiting from the same cancers they cause. Yeah, again, how is this guy alive? In 2021, Johnson & Johnson recalled Neutrogena and Aveeno aerosol sunscreens after benzene, a carcinogen, is tied to leukemia and detected in their products. They pulled the products. And then he goes on to really irritate them farther by saying, you rake in billions from cancer drugs like Imbruvica and Darzalex, which treat blood cancers connected to benzene and other exposures. And these drugs earn over $3 billion and $9 billion, respectively. And Johnson & Johnson had thousands of lawsuits of asbestos in baby powder, baby talc. I mean, I'm not making it up. Do I need to ask Glitchy about like the lawsuits for baby powder, baby talc? How does that happen? How do you have asbestos in that which is going into the most sensitive private parts of babies' crevices? And here, what RFK is essentially saying is that you are creating products that cause cancer, and then you have drugs that are bringing in billions that treat cancer. Not anything suspicious there at all. And I guess we're going to just go on to chemtrails. Was that weird? Not that long ago when there was a government shutdown, I not only noticed this, but many people I associate noticed that there were no more chemtrail lines in the sky while the government was shut down. And as soon as they got the funding and we started back up again, it started flooding the skies. Florida Senate approves bill to ban chemtrails and weather modification. And I have Instagram clips I've sent Carter. I don't think I'm going to play them. I mean, we're talking about on the Senate floor, them talking about stopping these. Aluminum and whatever. I forget what's all into these things that they're spraying. I'm sure they think it's for some sort of noble cause. And you guys have seen the footage of a plane behind the other airliner where he's got them turning on and off the nozzles, right? Do we need to find that here? Bring up something else interesting. Bring up this Prince. Prince, the artist formerly known as Prince.
When I was a kid, I used to see these trails in the sky all the time. And so, oh, that's cool. A jet just went over. And then you started to see a whole bunch of them. And the next thing you know, everybody in your neighborhood was fighting and arguing, and you didn't know why. Okay? And you really didn't know why. I mean, everybody was fighting. So he started riffing about the chemtrails.
Okay, that's enough.
And
have you guys ever seen? Did you guys know, Carter? Did you know that Prince talked about chemtrails before they suicided him? Okay, so yeah, you don't do that. I mean, it was a day and age where I guess we were losing too many battles, and you can't just come out and say that. Because you can bring up this next image. I think this is interesting. So they found his bag or whatever he was traveling with at the time. This is the contents of Prince's suitcase when he died. But apparently Prince was on some pretty deep rabbit trails, because that book there that's in the center, I also posted an image so you can see the whole cover. This is my very, very good friend, Steve Quayle, who kind of blew the lid off of the Genesis 6 giants, that there was giants in the land and also after that, and that the Smithsonian's covered up all the giants, and that this whole thing blows apart evolutionary theory completely. Yes, Steve Quayle did that. You can go on to gen6.com and go to the shop and get this book, or go to SafeTrek. Just put in Steve Quayle Giants. You're going to find this book. Anyway, well, that was in Prince's bag when he died. So apparently he wasn't just onto chemtrails. He was under some other rabbit holes, and I just think that's very interesting. So isn't it very interesting that Prince was on more than just the chemtrails rabbit trail? He was onto giants, Smithsonian cover-up. Who knows what he was going to talk about? So they probably suicided him to keep him quiet, or he knew they were going to and faked his own death. I guarantee if we knew who was actually dead, who was actually hiding, who was actually clones, we'd fall out of our chairs. We have no idea, but he did look as though he died there, and you can see the book from Steve Quayle on there. Please watch our episode on Steve Quayle. So go to Geisinger Unfiltered YouTube channel. Our interview with the Steve Quayle is fascinating. Check that out, and I work with Steve all the time. Check out gen6.com. We do a weekly blog post called SQ Private Briefings that I'm involved in. You're going to want to sign up for that too. Okay, I think this is where we're going to close. But those of you who've tuned in today because maybe you saw something about Erika Kirk in the promo for this episode, please. I can't say everything on here that I want to say. I'm going to have to do it on Geisinger Unfiltered in the pro area. If you go to GeisingerUnfiltered.com, you're going to like the website. You're going to have everything's easy there to watch from everything that we've done. You can get into the community and you can get on a newsletter and other benefits that are free. Please sign up for free at the very least, because I'm going to start communicating with everybody that does. Because we're just getting this rolling, so it's going to be well worth it. But if you want to listen to content that I would get taken off the air on other platforms, you have to sign up for Geisinger Unfiltered Pro, and you're going to see the rest of this episode where I'm next. Next, I'm going to talk about the CIA EMP video that just turned up with Erika Kirk in it. Yes, if you do not know about this, it's shocking. Who is this? And my friends, I have people I love and cherish that I've recently spoke with that still think that Charlie Kirk was shot by a 30-06 by that kid on that roof. My eyeballs almost went plunked out of my head, went boom, 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 boom. Are you kidding? There's 20 reasons it's not that. I don't know. And these are supposedly conspiracy theory. I think they want to love her so much that they want it to be straightforward. They don't want her to be involved in those that we cannot speak of, the synagogue, that they cannot handle what she really is. So I'm going to talk about that next on Geisinger Unfiltered Pro. Please tune into us there. And, when you're on GeisingerUnfiltered.com, we're going to have a meetup in Branson, and that's coming up soon. That's going to be on Super Bowl Sunday. I didn't realize that. February 8th, 1 to 4 p.m. If you are in the area and you want to join us at the Big Whiskey Restaurant on Branson's Landing from 1 to 4 p.m., I will be there. Carter Gray will be there. Glitchy, maybe. We'll bring him along so we could throw darts at him. Would that be fun? I'm getting there. I'm about there. So again, sign up for Pro, sign up for the event in Branson Landing. You could stay and you could avoid the Super Bowl if you don't want to watch a satanic ritual at halftime, or you could hang out and watch it at Big Whiskey because it's a great place to watch a game. I'm a Broncos fan, and they just beat the Bills, and they're going on to the AFC Championship. But Bo Nix broke his ankle. So good and bad came with that game yesterday. Anyways, enough of all of that. Thank you for tuning into Geisinger Unfiltered. I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys, your support. Like, subscribe, share, comment. There's a lot of things that we went over today. How about human meat in fast food? Do you care about that? How about Vladimir Putin saying that we're eating each other? How about Rabbi Finkelstein saying this is happening all the time? Is that real? Is that a real clip? I just played something that's on the internet. I don't know. Sounded like he was sincere to me. What about Prince saying chemtrails and they suicided him, and now Florida's banning them? What is going on with fluoride and the food pyramid? South Park took South Park making a spoof of that. Maybe Carter can play it right here. I don't know. Or earlier when we were talking about it, where South Park says, turn the food pyramid upside down and it'll save people. And it does. And these are happening. So put your comments below. Share this out. Comment, subscribe, like, please. And let's get this out to other people, because people have to know that they can get good beef delivered right to the door. They should avoid fluoride, sunscreens, and things like that. Thank you. See you next time.